Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who as well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of this video is U.S. and Israel continue to show true colors, right? And basically, they're still at it. Israeli forces killed dozens at U.S.-backed aid sites in Gaza. Right. So this is, shameful spewing on the glory of these individuals, Babylon, America, and the land of Israel, right? With the prime minister being Benjamin Netanyahu, not a Jew at all, right? Basically, Israel has continued to fight, against America. There's been many times in recent news, you have what the JFK files, right? Of them trying to look for a needle in a haystack regarding, who killed JFK, right? But all through the mix of the paperwork, Israel was found. Israel this, Israel that, right? So that's one example. You can look that up on Google. Other examples of Israel attacking U.S. naval ship, right, which are supposed to be allies. And I think that happened on more than one time. I've seen that news also. And here we go again. Israeli forces kill dozens at U.S.-backed aid sites in Gaza. It says Israeli tanks and drones opened fire on Palestinians gathered at aid distribution sites run by a U.S.-backed group in Gaza. So they know that U.S. is running this aid, but they're still attacking it. It says killing more than 30 people in Rafah alone. It says Hamas is seeking changes to a ceasefire deal proposed by the United States, but its special envoy Steve Witkoff says the group response is totally unacceptable. Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 54,418 Palestinians and wounded 124,190, according to Gaza's health ministry. You know what I don't never see? The Hamas. How many Hamas individuals did they get? Because they said these Hamas individuals were terrorists. So how many confirmed kills of the terrorists do they have? They don't really have that. All they have is numbers of children and things like that, right? Because they're not doing a great job of what they're supposed to be doing, because they're lying. They're actually, starving and killing out the people there to, bring in the greater Israel, and rid those people of the land so they can have it to themselves. It says the Gaza government media office updated its death toll to more than 61,700, saying thousands of people missing under the rubble are presumed dead, and estimated 1,139 people killed in Israel during the Hamas-led attacks of October 7th, 2023, and more than 200 taken captive. Here we are in 2025, and they're still at it, right? And these people don't have weapons, whatever the case. And nonetheless, there's, if they're so concerned about taking the food back to whoever and whatnot, they can do is in a better way, They don't do that. All right, so let's read some of this. It says, forcible displacement, a main aim of Israel's aid scheme. It says Rafah, the site of deadly attacks on aid seekers in southern Gaza, has been emptied of its civilian population, with the Israeli military continuously destroying what's left of any infrastructure there, humanitarian worker says. Ahmed Graham from the Norwegian Refuge Council told Al Jazeera that Israel's chosen aid distributor has asked starving people to come back under the bullets and the bombs as the needs of hungry Palestinians reach unprecedented levels. What's happening can be seen as a pretext to displace more people from the north. Let's be clear, it's nothing new, right? And that's the thing. Everyone sees exactly what they're doing, right? That's why you have things like Habakkuk, with them asking how long, can the wicked do this? Try to take land for themselves, right? They're starting small with Gaza right now, but they have their sights on Iran, and China and Russia are getting worried also, right? So this can't continue on much longer, right? That's why Esau Edom will come down with great wrath because he knows that he has but a short time because he's been found out to be the devil that he is. It says it's just a new tactic and the grand scheme of Israeli aims, right? So it's all here. Everyone knows. They're not hiding. Forcible displacement is very much an aim as part of this operation, Bram said. Let me grab this. Let me grab this real quick. This is Isaiah 29:15. It says Isaiah 29:15, woe to them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord Yahweh, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us and who knoweth us? Right. So this is the mindset of these devils, right? And it's crazy because all the podcasts that I'm watching, they're talking about basically the master plans of these devils, taking Israel, taking over Gaza, setting their sights toward Iran, right? And then even now Russia and China are, taking steps to make sure they're good because they know they're next. Right? It says, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay, or shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not, or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he have no understanding. Right. So basically the will of the Lord will be done. Let me grab this NLT. Isaiah 29:15. What sorrow awaits those who try to hide their plans from the Lord, who do their evil deeds in the dark. Lord Yahweh can't see us, they say. He doesn't know what's going on. How foolish can he be? He is the potter and he is certainly greater than you, the clay. Should the created thing say of the one who made it, he didn't make me? Does a jar ever say the potter who made me is stupid? Right, and what? Basically, it was prophesied that the nakedness of Babylon the Great will be seen. Right, so they can no longer hide their schemes and their plans. Isaiah 47:1, it says, come down, virgin daughter of Babylon, right, which is America, and sit in dust, for your days of sitting on a throne have ended, O daughter of Babylonia. Never again will you be the lovely princess, tender and delicate. It says, take heavy millstones and grind flour. Remove your veil and strip off your robe. Expose yourself to public view, right? This is like saying a naked woman, It says, you'll be naked and burdened with shame. I will take vengeance against you without pity. Well, usually a naked woman, will be shamed to be seen naked and all of that. But nowadays, these women, which are products of Babylon the Great, don't really care. So anyway, but it's supposed to be a shameful thing, and it is a shameful thing because the works thereof are wicked, right? Babylon the Great is totally wicked, shameful spewing. Let me grab this. This is Isaiah 32:5. It says, the vile person shall no more be called liberal. Right, so the vile person, which has always been a vile person, which is the Edomites, the people ruling the world, right? Because the Most High said he set up the bases of men. Let's grab that. Base. Right. All right. So let me grab this real quick. This is Daniel 4:17, and we'll get that word, the basis. We got a KJV. It says this matter, Daniel 4:17, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High Yahweh ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set up over it the basis of men. So let's grab that word, basis of men. The basis, it says lowliness. So this is the word.
Strong's H8215, Shephal.
Right. So lowliness, right, of station, right? So no people. The Most High set up these Edomites are no people, and they're completely wicked. Let me go back to where I was at. It says the vile person shall no more be called liberal. So, for a long time, the people thought America was this great place to be. They thought all the people here were great, as in the rulers of the people. right? Because I'm a great person. But anyway, they thought that the rulers of the people were great, that America was great, they well wishing for everybody, and all of that. But they're starting to find out and see that that's not the case, and it's prophesied. Isaiah 32:5 says, "The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the troll said to be bountiful. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the Lord Yahweh." Right, and it's become to the front now. It's to the front that we can see these things now, and the world can see these things. It says to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. Right, so they're doing this thing here in the Gaza Strip, and basically anywhere and everywhere they want to go and take over, they can do the same thing. Pretty much, there's no stopping this stuff. But the scriptures say that he's not satisfied. Right. It says the instruments also of the true are evil. He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words. Right. That's them saying, yo, you from the north, hey, come over here and get food if you need it. Right. And it, like the article said, it's just to grab those people from the north to, help clear out the land. It says what's happening can be seen as a pretext to place more people from the north. Let's be clear, it's nothing new. So the same scheme, the same tricks, it's the same old devil. It says the instruments also the true are evil. His devices, he devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. It says, but a liberal divides liberal things, and by liberal things shall he stand. Right, and that's why everyone, the creation is waiting, for the chosen people, to be put back in place. The scriptures say, when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn, but when the righteous are in authority, people rejoice. You see, let's see if this is it. Romans 8. This might be a good one. That's the point. Let me see. Here we go. This is Romans 8 and start at 18. Romans 8 and 18, it says, "For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." Right, and of course the Israelites have a far more greater glory, but the rest of the creation, will have peace and rest. As in, no more poison foods, no more chemtrails in the skies, right? Your children can grow up, and whatnot. Food would be good and all of that. Animals would be, doing what animals should be doing, right? It says, for the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of Yahweh. So the whole of creation is waiting for the sons of Yahweh to be revealed, right? Which will be the hopeful elect now in this time, the true Israelites, right? The government body of the new world, right? Which will rule the world in righteousness. It says, for the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who have subjected the same in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of Yahweh. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. Right? So the whole of the earth, even the plants and the trees, the animals, everyone is upset while we have these Edomites in power. It says, and not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. So we're waiting to be changed to get the glorious new body, right? And rule, with an iron fist. It says, for we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why do he yet hope for? But if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it, right? And even people are now saying they want, new rulers, basically. Somebody else needs to be power. They said no, America is no longer that person, Right. So it was something else. I forgot what it was. We're going to go ahead and move on. This is Isaiah 14 and 12. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Right. So it's just talking about Babylon, of course, and the Lucifer is going to what? It says Lucifer, light bearer, shining one, morning star, Lucifer, the king of Babylon, and Satan. So basically, the king of Babylon would be the Edomites, right? That's why you have Second Thessalonians 2. And 8, Second Thessalonians 2 and 8, it says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord Yahweh shall consume the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. Right, so that's the point. So this man is being revealed, right? And he's going to have to move with great wrath because this revealing is taking place on him. So that person, that individual, the light bearers are the wicked, the ones who took over the world and gathered up all, the books and history and all of that stuff and put it to themselves. That's why they're called light bearer, because they know. Isaiah 14 and 12, it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. It says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. So this is the prophecy against these devils, right? They thought they will achieve greatness, but they will not. It says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? Right, that's the point, because when we have these devils in slavery, we're going to do double to them what they did to us, right? And it's not going to look good at all, right? And they're going to be so surprised and shocked, like, yo, this man had all the power? It says, all the kings of the nations, even all of them lie in glory, everyone in his own house, but thou art cast out of the grave like an abominable branch. And as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden underfoot. It says, thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. See, so the evildoers are the wicked, right? The people who you thought was liberal at once, right? They're actually wicked and evil. It says, prepare slaughter for his children, for iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities, right? So you don't want these devils to continue at all, right? Because all they bring is death. It says, I will rise up against them, said the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, said the Lord Yahweh. I will also make it a possession for the Britain and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the bosom of destruction, said the Lord Yahweh Bashmi of hosts. Right, the bosom of destruction is talking about nuclear missiles that will be shot from America's enemies, right? And it's going to be afterward filled with desert creatures. Right, Lord willing, edify. Just quickly in the news, I'll say shalom to those elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.